Thank you very much, gentlemen. Spawn.
I am new.
You get
What I will say.
They did 3-0 them as well. It's just 2 from the group stage and 1 from the
those
series.
don't count, though.
What I do want to say, however, is hats off to Flash Wolves because our biggest criticism to them was that this team can't 1-3-1, and that they've shown continually through group stages that they can't do that. And even though they got the composition, one more time, I was skeptical whether they could even play that playstyle. So
exactly, because we saw how we're thinking, man, how are they going to engage? Maybe they run at them really fast.
Right.
They ran at them really fast,
Yeah,
but
they did
mainly
it.
it's because they accumulated such of a gold lead from the 1-1, which when you looked at the way the series have gone in the history of these teams, we didn't think that was possible, but they actually did a very strong 1-3-1 here, and that's very good for them.
Yeah,
Right.
and I think all the difference just comes from the mid lane, having that agency to go into the enemy jungle from the first push on. You see that enabling Sword Art to get deep vision, that enabling Karsa to actually make plays. I think they need to stick to that line of thinking.
Yeah, I have to say, when we were watching that draft, the initial fear was, well, CLG, they just got, Echo, Graves, Janna, Kate. They're going to siege. With Azir, they're going to have no problem sieging. Ideally, the game stays relatively even. They'd have no problem protecting against the siege either. And yet Flash Wolves, though, very quickly, within the first 15 minutes of the game, established a 3K gold lead. So let's talk about how that was generated specifically.
All right, so this is a one part of the game where I'm going to criticize as opposed to compliment, because CLG went for a very risky play on the mid lane against a Rift held up big wave on the bottom lane. So they go for the swoop and scoop. They try and get Maple in the mid lane, start slowing down that win condition. However, Huhi in pretty bad fashion actually missed that one. You could see that Afro and Xmithy were on the top side of that, actually hoping to pick up a kill there. Instead, they give up a second tier turret on the bottom side of the map and just allow this big snowball. They then have to go catch that wave. They open up the mid lane and everything just falls apart.
Yeah, and I even think before that, there was a little bit of a mistake by CLG from Darshan at the start. They were trying to be predictive with the lane swap backwards that happened in game 1.
Right.
And he ended up having to burn his teleport just so he could 3-man push that top lane. And it did set them a little bit behind. Remember, that was a winning matchup for Darshan the last game, and then when they did go into these lane swaps, the actual just theory of having a lane swap game would be that Flash Wolves wouldn't want a lane because their bottom lane and their top lane were both losing matchups. So it was good of them to lane swap, and CLG did misplay in a couple of different ways.
And interestingly enough, Clement, the Soraka ban that CLG proactively threw out didn't seem to affect Flash Wolves that much. They pick up another range support in the Karma, but utilize her utility very well in this game.
I can see why they Soraka is probably important for Flash Wolves, because they probably want to play the LeBlanc and they want to take away the winning lane from CLG, but it's just not the Flash Wolves style. The Flash Wolves style is they have to have a proactive support.
Right.
And this time when their support could actually stick to targets, they played a lot better. So for me, the Soraka ban probably wasn't necessary from CLG.
I also want to give credit to Maple here because we said that even with all these great things, like you are against Janna and Azir. So if you do not blow up Caitlyn, who was a consistent damage in this composition, if you don't get your man, I guess it's fair to say if you're a Maple, then you're not going to be able to win a team fight. So what does he do? He goes Void Staff second, Deathcap fourth, third and fourth, sorry.
He'll get you.
He flew in one round of spells and goodbye, Stixay.
That being said, that very last fight of the game was incredibly close. It was another kind of, maybe almost a miracle CLG in the base fight. Rise had a GA. Well, maybe things.
But that wasn't his fault because he flew in and he got his van. I mean, Rise deletes Caitlyn. From there, the 12,000 gold lead should be able to do its job.
Right.
The rest of it went a little bit scratchy, but Maple did play that very well.
All right, well, let's go ahead and look forward to Game 3 then. Now that it's been equalized 1-1, Flash Wolves have a little bit of breathing room. We've got 2 games of information that we can work with. What are we looking to change now on either side in order to take the third game?
Yeah, well, I think Flash Wolves proved that they can 1-3-1, and also I almost feel like CLG was just intentionally trying to go with a different look against them. I think CLG drops the Soraka ban. I think if they have winning lanes, they're just going to do standard winning lanes and actually match the lane swap of Flash Wolves.
Okay.
Or they're going to just make Flash Wolves start the lane swap and then try and outplay them in that in a reactive sense.
See, the Soraka ban made sense to me when I saw it because I thought CLG is going to first pick Ryze all day long, and you don't want to play Ryze into Soraka. So I think that you either keep banning Soraka and first picking Ryze for Huhi because it is his best champion, or leave it up and at least give yourself the chance to counter.
Yeah, the Azir leaving something to be desired in this game specifically. Understandably, they had the 3-0 record on it coming in, so there would be confidence there, but not the most incredible play on that champion. What about you for Clement? Either CLG or Flash Wolves?
I think a lot of this is going to come down to early game. I think both teams are very good at controlling tempo and the map. So if they get that lead, it's really hard to shake them off. I think we're going to see a lot more skirmish-oriented in the early game and try to establish those early leads. If that's the way, I think Flash Wolves has a little lead here.
All right, so do you think for Flash Wolves, what's the best way to establish that early lead? Because Jat just talked about, how CLG might react to either lane swap or taking just strong lanes into standard lanes against Flash Wolves. Where do you think they have the edge?
Get the early leading junglers. I think Kindred was huge this game. You look at the game against SKT game 1, this is exactly how they won as well. Better jungler, better mid.
All right, well, there you have it. Looking for the early game leads so that either of these teams can utilize their late game advantages moving forward. We've got a series on our hands, ladies and gentlemen, with things tied up at 1 win apiece. Stay right here because Game 3 is coming your way in just a few minutes.
CLG still owns the Rift. North America going into Game 2 with a lot of that backing as they went 2-0 against Flash Wolves in the group stage. Smithy could actually go down here. Lamb's respite is up. They're gonna. Oh! It's a retribution kill back and forth. Smithy trying to throw damage from the back. Kuhi with one final go, and he puts himself in a great position for it to be a 1-for-2, but Darshan falls. God, I'm playing with my emotions. They're tugging on my heartstrings. And yes, we do have a series. GG to the LMS Flash Wolves.